my view is that action is inevitable. It's only the question of the timing of that action. Siddaramaiah represents a very important segment which is important for the Congress. Would they take some steps at this point of time to be able to attempt at least a image makeover of the government?
All this coming up in just a few minutes. But before that, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has been hit by a politico-legal double whammy. This past week saw the 76-year-old senior Congress leader face a series of setbacks, which have now posed a threat to his chief ministerial position. With the Karnataka High Court pointing a needle of suspicion at Siddaramaiah, will the accused number one have to step down from the CM's post? What will be the political implications of this for the Congress in Karnataka? And what strategy is the party high command likely to adopt? Namaskara, welcome to Decode Karnataka. I'm Nalme Nachiyar. Last week, following orders from a special court for people's representatives in Bengaluru, the Lokayukta Police registered an FIR in Mysuru against CM Siddaramaiah, his wife, and two others in the MUDA case. This has set the ball rolling for what is sure to be a protracted battle. Even as its confrontation with the Raj Bhavan continues, the Congress also has to worry about the collective onslaught of the BJP and the JDS, whose demand for Siddaramaiah's resignation has been growing in chorus. Siddaramaiah, on his part, has shut down all talks of quitting, while openly declaring his readiness to face any investigation. Meanwhile, Ahinda activists and leaders have alleged political conspiracy by the NDA allies to dethrone a popular leader of the backward classes. Moreover, for Siddaramaiah, the fight is no longer just political, it's personal. The charges of corruption, having surfaced towards the fag end of his political career, threaten to tarnish the Mr. Clean image he has maintained and taken pride in during his 40-year-long public life. For now, a change of guard appears doubtful amid the upcoming local body elections in Karnataka and assembly elections in other states. All eyes are also on the future course of action to be taken by the CM and the Congress. We have already covered the legal aspects of the MUDA case with our senior deputy editor, Krishna Prasad. You can find the link to the conversation here, which offers a detailed breakdown of the September 24th High Court verdict, as well as the legal recourses available to the CM. Today, our focus is on the political fallout of these developments. And joining us for a discussion on this is political scientist, analyst, and the national coordinator of the Lokniti network, Dr. Sandeep Shastri. Dr. Shastri, in the last week, Karnataka has witnessed several big developments in the MUDA case. This includes the High Court verdict as well as the Lokayukta Police in Mysuru filing an FIR against CM Siddaramaiah following an order by the special court. So the one big question on everyone's mind is CM Siddaramaiah's resignation. Will he, won't he, should he, shouldn't he? So far, the Congress party, its leaders and ministers have backed Siddaramaiah fully and pledged him their unstinted, unwavering support, even in the face of intense pressure from the opposition. What do you think are the compulsions for the Congress central leadership to not dislodge him at this point?
If you look at Karnataka developments now in the context of developments of the past, we have had several cases of leadership facing a similar situation and not thinking it's important to resign at that stage. So I'm not therefore holding out a candle to support the fact that the chief minister has not resigned. What I'm saying is there is a precedent in the state, not just one precedent, several precedents in the past, when in spite of similar things happening, chief ministers have not stepped down. In this particular case, I think given the intensity of the demand of the opposition that the prime minister, that the chief minister should resign, I think there is even more reason why the Congress wants to soft pedal the issue, because in the event of their getting him to resign now, it would be like conceding that the opposition's demand has been fulfilled. So I think while the developments are a huge setback for the chief minister individually and for the party in general, the party would be a little cautious in taking any immediate action. Yes, the chief minister is on the back foot. Yes, the party is on the defensive. Yes, the government seems to be more concerned about dealing with this issue than the wider issues of governance. But I think it would take a little more time before any action comes. And my view is that action is inevitable. It's only the question of the timing of that action. They would not want to do that immediately. They would wait for an appropriate moment when they believe that they could make a virtue of a necessity, if you may.
But what do you think, if push comes to shove, what is that one trigger that could force the High Command to initiate a change in leadership? Because currently the upcoming elections in other states are also a major concern for the party. So, for it to put up a united front and not destabilize the state unit. But what do you think could be the trigger?
You're right. You have the Jharkhand and the Maharashtra Assembly elections coming up, where the Congress is a player. You may not say the key player because you have the JMM in Jharkhand and the other parties, including the Uddhav Shiv Sena in Maharashtra. So they are the players in the game, but not necessarily the key player in the game. So they would have to keep coalition politics in mind for both Jharkhand and Maharashtra, and they would be cautious in making the point that it is just an investigation, and we would wait for the final thing. It's a political move. All that necessary points would be made, but in the long run, I think. It becomes a challenge. It becomes an embarrassment for the ruling party because it deflects attention away from what they would want it to be on, and it puts the spotlight of attention on this issue. They would have liked the 5 guarantees that they are implementing to be their key focus,
Correct.
which today nobody is talking about. So the focus is very much on the alleged scandals and those issues. On the question of timing, a question you raised earlier, let's remember that Siddaramaiah represents a very important segment which is important for the Congress. As a Ahinda leader, he is seen as an important backward caste leader, not just in Karnataka, but then given the issues that the Congress has been focusing on nationally, he becomes an important person for the Congress for the agenda that it is putting forward. But then, if the negativism which flows from this corruption allegation, I think, crosses a particular limit, like if I use the analogy of a river in flood, if that river water crosses the danger mark, then I think it becomes prudent and important to take action. And I think something similar would happen here. The party would wait and watch. The leadership at the state level also, I'm sure Mr. Siddaramaiah would be mindful of that factor. So I think they would wait for the appropriate moment when, as I said earlier, they could convert necessity into a virtue and do maximum damage control if something like that were needed to happen.
So right now, as these issues are brewing, the debate over seniority has also flared up within the Karnataka Congress. And starting with Deputy CM DK Shivkumar, there are close to a dozen senior Congress leaders in line for the CM's post. So there's no paucity of claimants. Now, given the considerations of caste balance, seniority, acceptance across regions and camps within the Congress, the question seems to be, is there anyone who can fill Siddaramaiah's place without giving way to political instability? What do you have to say about that?
This is a very, very complex, intricate, and multi-layered challenge which would need to be looked at. As you very rightly said, there are no end to the claimants for the position, with each day seeing a new claimant emerging and people throwing their hat into the ring. But then, if you look at when the party won the assembly election this time, there was that final consensus that Siddaramaiah becomes chief minister and Mr. D.K. Shivkumar is deputy. And there was also talk of an agreement that there would be a change sometime down the line, though, of course, that is disputed and there is a debate on that. So, if there is going to be a change of leadership, it would be very difficult for the High Command to sidestep the demands that D.K. Shivkumar would make as Deputy Chief Minister and as party president. Yes, of course, critics would say that there are a lot of challenges that he also faces in the light of the court cases against him. But I think he would be a strong contender for that position, and it may be difficult to sidetrack him. Then, of course, the question comes, replacing a non-dominant OBC leader with a dominant caste leader would have its own projections. But I think the way they would solve that is by having multiple deputy chief ministers from different regions representing different social groups. Now, because of the arrangement, they had to have only one deputy chief minister, because that was Mr. DK's demand if he has to concede the chief ministership to Siddaramaiah. But if he were to be a claimant for the leadership position as and when that race opens up, deputy chief ministers' positions need not be limited to one, and then I think the various social groups which would need to be accommodated and the regions which would need to be accommodated would be all done in that way. I see that likelihood emerging, but then these are issues on which it's very difficult to actually put your finger on exactly what is likely to happen. But I see this as a distinct and distant possibility.
Dr. Shastri, Congress has also been saying that the BJP is misusing the governor's office to target its most vocal and senior leader, Siddaramaiah, to destabilize the government, since attempting an Operation Kamala would be hard given its present numbers. How do you view the BJP's plans in Karnataka, and how do you foresee the party taking it forward?
You have raised two questions. One, let's remember the governor's office has been a bone of contention, irrespective of which party has come to power at the center. Be it the BJP now, be it the Congress in past, be it alliance governments in the past of JDS and others. There have always been controversies linked to the office of the governor, especially when two different parties are in power at the center and the state. And my plea has always been, we need to go back to the original sentiment in the Constituent Assembly that governors would be, as far as possible, not politicians, and those not connected with any party, as was said by Baba Saheb Ambedkar and Sardar Patel in the Constituent Assembly. So I wish we would go back to that, but given the fact that all parties who have been at power at the center have not used this, have used it to their political advantage, we would need to blame all parties for that. Coming to your second question, I think what has worked to the Congress's advantage at the particular point of time in Karnataka is the fact that the state BJP is not in any strongly united position. You have intense factionalism within the BJP, and this factionalism has to some extent prevented the BJP from being much more strident in its efforts to criticize the government. And I think the BJP too would be looking to get its act together. And I'm sure the central leadership of the party would also be very keen to make sure that its house in Karnataka is in order. Because if that were not to be, then being able to challenge Congress government, which has a reasonably strong majority, would be very difficult, and they would find it a challenge to take advantage of the situation they are in. So yes, the BJP in Karnataka would need to get its house in order, would need to be united, and would need to would need to work out that our principal task now is as the opposition and not to settle scores within the opposition.
Coming back to the Congress, as you mentioned earlier, governance in the state has suffered due to the MUDA case. There is also the party's image to consider, Siddaramaiah's Mr. Clean image that is also on the line. But what are the implications of the case for the Congress and the political momentum that it has gathered both at the state and at the national level following the 2023 state elections and the 2024 Lok Sabha elections?
I think this is your most critical question. We are a little beyond 2 years of the term of the state government here. I'm sorry, a little beyond 1 year of the term of the state government here. And we would be approaching very soon the halfway mark of the state government. And that's always, if you look at the past, that's the critical time in terms of the image of a government. Karnataka has always had a revolving door policy since 1985, when a ruling party has never come back to power. Now, a lot of that has to do with the fact that where are you, how are you, and how effective are you halfway down your term. So if the Congress were not to get its act together at this point of time, if it were not to do a image makeover, if you may, at this point of time, I think to be able to rescue their position in 2028 in Karnataka would be immensely difficult. So that's the challenge which the Congress faces. Would they allow the revolving door policy to continue, or would they take some steps at this point of time to be able to attempt at least an image makeover of the government? Also, given the fact that the national level, the Congress is attempting a revival and is looking at challenging its principal opponent, this would be an issue that they would need to deal with. They would need to ensure that Karnataka does not become an embarrassment for them and does not become an issue on which they will have to go, they will be pushed to the wall. So as part of their national debate and their national competition with the BJP and the NDA, I think being able to make a positive projection on Karnataka would be important for them. Otherwise, it could well be, as I said, an embarrassment when they are challenging the ruling coalition at the center.
Will the Congress rock the boat and change the political reality in the days to come? What will be the next move of the opposition? What awaits the embattled CM? With the Lokayukta launching its investigation into the scam, a prolonged fight is expected. And we will continue to follow it. I'll see you in the next episode of Decode Karnataka. Until then, follow The Hindu for more such stories and videos.